Well, welcome to the 2017 discussion forum. We're all very excited that we're going to have a really interesting day. Before we start, could I remind you please to put your phones on silent. You'll need to leave them on, as you'll see in a minute, but please put them on silent so they're not interrupting. I think I should start today by first pointing out that I'm not Tiffany Hemmings, you may have noticed, but to pay tribute to Tiffany, who was chair of AWF for a full 6-year term and did a fantastic job. Delighted to see you here, Tiffany, in the audience for a change. Thank you also to our sponsors for the day, particularly Vets for Pets, who are our major sponsor. One of the issues, of course, with running days like this is that they are very expensive to run. We try to keep the ticket prices down to something which is reasonable, and we couldn't do that if we didn't have the support of our sponsors. So thank you very much to them. Please go and talk to them all. They've all got stands in the coffee and tea area. Please go and talk to them during the breaks. For those of you who don't know about AWF, our mission is to use veterinary knowledge and science to improve animal welfare. And we do that in 3 ways. We fund research on a fairly broad range and an increasingly broad range of subjects, and primarily subjects where there's going to be a practical welfare benefit in the very near future. We spend quite significant amounts of money on that, and we're expanding that. We have recently awarded grants to students to do some basic research over their summer vacations, so that will be coming up this year. And we spent something like 23,000 doing that. That's a new venture for us. We have a second new venture, which is to look at trying to prioritize animal welfare issues. My experience in animal welfare is that those who shout loudest tend to get the most attention, and that's not necessarily the point at which the most welfare benefit can be had. So we're going to try and prioritise that. We've just started a project, or just about to start a project, doing that. We aim to educate the profession and the general public, and today, of course, is partly about education of our audience here, which is much broader than just veterinary surgeons and veterinary nurses, I'm glad to say. But we also try to educate general public, and if you haven't seen our range of public-facing leaflets, do look on the website. There are some really good leaflets there, which we're just redoing at the moment. They're intended for you to use in your practice. You can download them off the website, or we can actually supply them if you like. And of course, the third aim is debate, and that's really what today is primarily about. We've got some really good controversial subjects, and I hope you're all going to participate in the discussion, which we'll have later on. The one thing that we've added this year is something which we decided fairly recently. We tried to find something which is very relevant to what's happening in the welfare world at the moment. And of course, the government consultation and work, or the last government, current government, who knows? Thursday will tell. The last government had a consultation on animal welfare licensing, and that process is going through at the moment. We're going to talk about that later in the day. But really, above all, we need you to participate. And we've got 2 ways for you to participate today. The first way is using Slido, and you can see the link up on the page, on the slide that's up there at the moment. Do log in. You don't have to put your name on. You can be anonymous if you want to, but it allows you to ask questions at any point during the presentations. So if something comes up that you think you'd either like to be clarified or you'd like to start a discussion about a specific point, send the message on Slido. We have a team up in the box at the back who will regulate those, collate them, and then the chair can ask them during the day. So we really need you to participate that way. There'll also be roving microphones as well. All the presentations are being filmed, and thank you to Anthony Chadwick and the webinar vet for doing that for us as usual. And lastly, we need your money. There are two ways you can do that. First one is you can buy raffle tickets, and they're on sale just outside the door, and there's some good prizes, one of which is free entry to the discussion forum next day, just to really excite you. The other is that later on during the day, we'll be leaving some gift aid forms and direct debit forms on your seats. Please think about giving us some money in the long term. We've also got a photographer around who will be taking pictures, so please don't get upset if you're asked to pose. You don't need to take any clothes off for that. We need the publicity photographs for later. So finally, on behalf of all the trustees, welcome to the discussion forum. I'm going to start the process now, and the first presentation will be by James Yates, who is Chief Veterinary Officer of the RSPCA and one of the few welfare certificate holders there are in the country. So James, over to you.